Good evening or night. It's pretty late, actually. It is June 18th, 2024. This is episode 202 of the Paul Green Comedy PaulCast. Although I am getting so late with these episodes, it's technically tomorrow. I know. I have gotten. I am about 12 hours behind, or even more, then I prefer to do my daily podcast. If this is your first time, welcome to my journey. I am a stand-up comedian and actor currently living in Phoenix and out pursuing those dreams and reporting my journey and my learnings along the way. Whatever hopes and dreams and ambitions you are going for, it is my hope that at least something I say might be inspirational, be helpful, and if not, I'm just having a great time challenging myself to check in on a daily basis, and I can't believe it. I've done this for 202 straight days. So, if you are just joining the podcast, I had a very interesting couple of days, and let's start with about 2 days ago. I had an opportunity to perform at the Tempe Improv in Tempe, Arizona, which is pretty much, I consider it my hometown. I wasn't born in Tempe, but I have lived the majority of my life in this city, and it just so happens that one of the most iconic stand-up comedy brands is in Tempe, right up the street from where I was raised, and where I am also currently living, which is very cool. And, the Tempe Improv for a lot of comics is a huge milestone. I have performed there before, but it has been a long time. It's been maybe 5 or 6 years since I have performed at the Tempe Improv. And never did I think that I would be the headlining act at the Tempe Improv. And that happened Sunday night, which was very cool. And it happened because it's only been about 3 months ago, a fellow stand-up comedian friend of mine who was a guest on this very podcast called me up and said, Paul, we need to do a podcast together, and it's going to be called the Let's Have a Midlife Crisis podcast, and we're going to talk, and then we're going to improvise songs about whatever we're talking about. And I said, all right, let's do it. I had a little bit of apprehension. I was thinking, well, I'm already doing a podcast daily. I'm now going to go do another podcast. I mean, I'm already trying to build this. But there was just something about it where, I'm just at this stage in my life where I'm just willing to say yes to things, at least as long as they're not completely bonkers. But, here's a comedian who I respect, who I think's very funny, and who wanted to do a thing with me. So I just went to his house, and he had a piano set up in his house, and he had a whole podcast studio, and we filmed the first episode of the Let's Have a Midlife Crisis comedy podcast, and it was a lot of fun, and we have a good rapport. We play off each other very well. He has an improvisational background. I have an improvisational background, and it was just really fun, and that has grown very quickly to where we started doing live shows in Gilbert. Those went very well. We've only done 2, but the first one went very, very well. And the second one, we sold even more tickets than the first one. And then we had this opportunity to try it out at Tempe Improv, which I was honestly very apprehensive about doing the Tempe Improv for a lot of reasons. I thought it might be a little too much too soon. Geographically, it's close. It's pretty close to the other club we'd already performed. That we were already doing a show. I was like, maybe that's a little too close. We should try to maybe get a club that's kind of on the other side of town, just so we're not confusing the demographic. And even though, and speaking of demographic, even though it is sort of close to the club in Gilbert that we perform at, it's also in a very different demographic. It's literally next door to Arizona State University. I'm going, that's all college kids. College kids are not having a midlife crisis, or at least I hope not, because that means they'll be dead by 36. And the gig that or the show they wanted to give us was on Father's Day. I'm going, I don't think that Father's Day is a go out and go to a comedy show type holiday. It was very close to the other show. I don't know. I was a little apprehensive. I'm not going to lie. I just was concerned that we were stacking the cards against us instead of for us. And to Josh's credit, he just said, no, I think we should try it. And we did. And the show was at risk of getting canceled right up until... So we pretty much had to have a certain amount of tickets sold by Friday at 5 p.m. And at about 3 p.m., we were about 20 shy. And it was pretty clear that we're probably not going to close or sell 20 tickets in these 2 hours. And for some reason, though, the booker just saw the effort that we were putting into marketing. He saw that we were selling tickets at all. He was recommending that we give them away, that we comp them. And I didn't want to do that. And quite frankly, I don't think we could have given them away any easier than we were selling them, to be honest. And yet the booker just changed his mind and just said, hey, let's go ahead and do the show. You know, we've got a good 50 people. We'll probably pick up another 20, 25 in the next couple of days. And so the show was on. And next thing I know, I'm headlining on the main stage at the Tempe Improv, this club that has been in my shadow for a good 25 years. And I would say of all of the stand-up comedy brands in Arizona, it's probably the most recognizable comedy brand. I mean, the Improv is very ubiquitous. There's probably a good 10 or 12 of them across the country. Ironically enough, I was at the Hollywood Improv a night later, supporting my friend who had a show at the Hollywood Improv. And you know, this show, this podcast show that we're pretty much just doing live now. It was started as a podcast, but it's just turning into this live performance show concept. It's just, first of all, I just have so much fun doing it. It really combines a lot of elements of what I love about performing, which is stand-up comedy, crowd interaction, and improvisational music. And I also really do love collaborating with someone else on stage comedically. Again, I have an improv background, so everything that I did comedically, I had a castmate, I had a teammate. Stand-up is a solo act, and I enjoy stand-up. I like being a solo act, but I love doing improv, and that is something unique that Josh and I have created, is we really get to improvise with each other on stage, and we have no idea what's going to happen, and we are just calling up random strangers on the stage and asking them a bunch of questions about their lives and then improvising a song. And we don't plan it. We don't try to force it. We don't plant anybody. We don't have any prompts. We're not trying to get the people to act a certain way or talk certain way or give specific types of answers. We just start talking to them. And here is what I'm learning, everybody. Here are the learnings. I think what I'm discovering through this is, first of all, just the power of saying yes to opportunities, even if they aren't necessarily the opportunity that you thought you would be getting. It wasn't my plan to do a 2-person improvised show live in this format. I had thought about doing sort of a short form improv show before, kind of similar to what I was doing when I started improvising, but something just wasn't quite resonating with me for some reason when I thought about that. And there was just sort of this very synergistic series of events that led to this show being created out of the ether, and also having an opportunity to produce a show at the comedy club where I perform at all the time in Gilbert. And there was just kind of this marriage that happened very quickly, and it just took off it's taking off so much faster. And whereas last year I really set, one of my dreams, and one of my dreams still, is to be able to be a draw, meaning strangers will buy tickets to come and see me. And I've talked about this a lot, how about in the industry of comedy, if you're relying on friends and family to buy tickets and see you, you are in trouble, because that well dries out very, very quick as a stand-up comedian. The only way to really to be incredibly successful in this is if enough strangers find out about your show. It's like if strangers know who you are, but you don't know who they are. I know that sounds very, very pompous, but it's true. I mean, I was seeing that all over the place. When I was in Hollywood last night, I'm at the Hollywood or the Comedy Store, and me and my buddy Jim, who went out there, saw probably 6 or 7 celebrities. Like we saw Kumail Nanjiani, I think is his last name. Whitney Cummings was there. Dane Cook was there. Pauly Shore, Craig Robinson, Jeff Ross, Marcelo Hernandez, who's currently on Saturday Night Live. And so they're going, I know all of these people. And everybody at the Comedy Store knows these people. Those people don't know any of these people. And I talked about this briefly, but I had this pinch me moment when I was in the green room at the Tempe Improv, again, iconic club, about to headline a show that didn't even exist 3 months ago. And 71 strangers who know who I am, or at least knew, hey, there's a show concept here that I want to go see, and I want to see what these guys do. And overall, the show went very, very well. We're still ironing out some elements of it. You know, we're still tinkering with a couple of concepts on how to make the overall show more conducive and more better, you know, just improve upon it. How can we keep the energy high? How can we keep the flow interesting? How can we sort of mix things up so it doesn't get a little monotonous? How much stand-up comedy do we want up front? How much do Josh and I want to do stand-up? The show format we tried this last Sunday was We had an opening comedian come out, and she did a fantastic job. And then I did stand-up, and then Josh did stand-up, and then we both came out and did the combined show, which worked pretty well. We've talked about maybe us not doing that and having all opening comics start the show, and then we come out as the headliners, as the big act. That was a recommendation of my buddy as well. We've talked about going the opposite direction and not even having an opener, and that just both he and I come out, we start the show, I do some stand-up, he does some stand-up, and then we both come out and finish up the show, and that way we're totally self-contained. And then we've talked about different ways that we can maybe mix up the two-person portion of the show, the podcast portion. Because right now we pretty much just brought 4 people on stage, and it was just the same format over and over and over again. Bring somebody on stage, talk to them, find out about their life, sing a song about them, bring up the next person. The feedback I got was that it did seem a little long, which was also my feeling. But everybody who came up to us afterwards really seemed to have a good time. And a lot of the audience members came up and were taking pictures with us and were treating us like we're kind of the celebs here. And I just went, okay, this is new. And we've already got 3 more shows on the books. We got another show in Gilbert coming up in July. And then we've got 2 more shows in August. Technically, we have 4 shows because me and Josh are also doing a birthday show at JB's Comedy Club. Although, ironically enough, hardly any ticket sales for that, which I think is interesting, that we're able to sell tickets to strangers if it's the Midlife Crisis comedy show, but when it's the Paul and Josh birthday show that I actually just wanted, so all of my friends and family who maybe I haven't seen in a while because Tempe is home for me, that would be like a party. And I actually thought that I had a lot of friends and family in Arizona who would come out. And so far, the numbers are very, very low. But thank you to all of you who have bought a ticket. I say all of you. I think we've sold 3. And I got to tell you, that's probably the best sign of all, that there are more strangers who want to see me than my friends and family. That's probably actually a really good sign because, as I said before, the name of this game is Will Strangers Buy Tickets to See You Perform? And until you get to that, there is just such a low ceiling on how far you can go. So, overall, very cool things happening. On the acting side, my agent from Los Angeles just got me an audition, so I am really excited to submit that. And yeah, I got 4 shows this weekend at JP's. Very much looking forward to those. A lot of cool stuff happening. I started working with a new social media manager yesterday, and I'm really excited about her ideas. She is just very, very smart, very thoughtful and intentful. Is that a word? She just took a look at some of my videos and social media and stuff, and then just wrote up this very thoughtful document about her thought about my brand and my colors, like my branding colors and my captions, and was giving very specific ideas on how the video could have been cut better. And I mean, down to the minute detail, that video should have been cut about 1 second early or before the audience member said this and blah, 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 blah. I'm just going, I want her on my team. So we'll see how she does and see if I can take another stab at getting my social media game dialed in. I have been trying to get social media figured out since social media began. Trying to get those viral videos, trying to get really solid looking social media presence. And I don't know, I feel pretty good about this woman who is very talented and very methodical and very just very passionate. There was a lot of passion and I could just tell it was important to her that this go well for me, and it really meant a lot to me that she took that much time and consideration to really look into how to help me out on the social media game. So coming at it from all angles, everybody, and I'm just so grateful that I have the opportunities to pursue my dreams, and for the people who are coming into my life and sharing this journey with me, and being a part of that. And I just got to say, everybody, whatever your dream is out there, just go for it. Be open. Say yes to the opportunities that come your way. Say yes to everything but crack and porn, probably. And again, obviously, like most things, there's always an asterisk. There is such a thing as calculated risk, and there is such a thing as, being foolish over being ambitious and saying yes to an opportunity and going into it and seeing what happens. And, you just never know. You never know. I said yes to doing this podcast with my buddy. That's turned into one of the the 3 most successful shows that I've ever been involved in from the production side. Sold the most tickets of any show. I mean, I've never sold tickets before. Not never. I have really struggled to sell tickets before. It's so hard to do that. And here, we're able to do it now with this show concept. And so everything just feels like it's lining up, and I'm very grateful and very excited for what may come and what dreams may come from all of this. So keep at it, everybody. Keep moving forward. Keep saying yes to those opportunities, and being open and being willing to just let things fall into place once you're putting in the effort and showing up as best you can, and setting those big goals and setting those big dreams, and then just start moving forward towards them as best as you can every single day, and then just let whatever happens. And so it's been a wild journey thus far, and I'm excited to see what else is down this road. And of course, I will be keeping you updated on the daily Paul Green Comedy PaulCast. This episode is for June 18th, 2024, episode 202, although technically I know that it was posted on June 19th, but that's just where I'm at right now. So busy, so much going on, and but I will continue to post daily updates, everybody. All right, I love you all so much. Keep living those dreams, and I will talk to you tomorrow.